Assalamualaikum. Hello, welcome to my documentary video. In this video, we are going to discuss about teaching English in secondary school, challenges in teaching the new generations. Well now, generally, generation often used synonymously with cohort in social science. Under this formulation, it means people within a delineated population who experience the same significant events within a given period of time. Generations in this sense of birth cohort, also known as social generation, are widely used in popular culture and have been the basis for sociological analysis. For example, we have millennials who cover the majority of human population in this time of age. Turning 39 this year, the oldest millennials are well into adulthood, while the youngest has reached the age of 24 in 2020. So, who will be considered as the starting point of the new generation? The generation called as Generation Z is the demographic cohort succeeding millennials and preceding Generation Alpha. Researchers and popular media use the mid to late 1990s as starting birth years and the early 2010s as ending birth years. Needless to say, this generation are fully digital natives, which are people who were born or brought up in digital era. Teaching English is not without its challenges, especially in the rural or remote areas of the country, where the lack of opportunities to use the language in a relevant manner and lack of interest among students are stumbling blocks to helping students acquire language skills. The changing education landscape too, with the infusion of technology in the teaching and learning process, have also brought about rapid changes in teaching methodologies, which even some teachers struggle to keep up with. Associate Professor Dr. Hanita Hassan, Chair of the Language Academy at University Technology Malaysia, in addressing the challenges in teaching English, had said, teaching and learning as a second language have seen tremendous changes in a few decades. Changes are inevitable. The question is, are teachers ready to embrace the changes? The question shows that teachers' duty are not only to teach, but to adapt to the many changes, and it is not as easy as one can talk. So here are the listed challenges in teaching English to new generation, as concluded through interviews and research. Among the challenges that has to be faced by English teachers are the decreasing quality of self-reliance in students. Students has the tendencies to rely on the internet and teachers for answers, ideas, and even vocabulary. Mrs. Susanna, in her teaching experience, said, as thoughts were given out, the first thing students tend to do are to look up answers through internet. Instead of reading through articles and books, like the older generation has to do to gain ideas, the answers are easily gained for newer generations through internet. The easy way out in picking points through answer sheet, instead of writing their own words by their own thinking. Mrs. Susanna addressed that most of the writings are lacking what seems to be authenticity and relations. The Guardian reported, a research revealed that in 2019, only 26% of under 18s spend their time reading. The regressing numbers of children that read reported as the lowest since 2005. Reading has always been the foundation to writing and also an important aspect in acquiring language. The writer of the series Harry Potter said, and I quote, "You can't be a good writer without being a devoted reader." Next challenge is limited facilities. Malaysia is upgrading the educational system to Education 4.0 to catch up with the global movement that encourages non-traditional thinking and practice when it comes to imparting education. Educators who subscribe to the notion of Education 4.0 rely on technology-based tools, resources, and applications to drive teaching and learning in non-traditional ways within their classrooms. The rationale behind Education 4.0 is that our learners now were born into digital technologies, and the way they learn are very much technology-based compared to previous generations of learners. Without a doubt, interactive and immersive educational contents are definitely needed to cater to the real needs and wants of new generations. This research critically examines the use of new technologies, technological resources, and digital applications to teach English to Malaysian students. However, the progress and adaptation to the new style of education in effort to cater to the needs of the new generation are facing some challenges due to the limited facilities for teachers and students both, such as lack of technical knowledge, limited financial resources, and most significant is limited access. There are still educators who has to carry around the LCD projector to be used in classroom that is rather time-consuming to be set up, and that too if the internet connections are good enough to access online teaching material. The last issue that has been pointed out is motivation. Well, more like the lack of it. The era is changing, and so does the generation. Although not everyone as fortunate as some people, educations are not as valued as much as struggling past generation does. Technology advantages helps in solving problems easily. Instead of memorizing vocabulary, Google Translate is always ready to be used. We are also seeing young teenagers making money, online fames that are valued more than real-life achievement, and easy monies that are gained as social media followers increasing. There are various kind of profession and career that emerge as the era changing that don't require high education and language mastery. It is a good opportunity for the young generation, but it'll be way much better if the same are applied to education where the technology advantages are fully utilized to enhance knowledge and mastering language. As conclusion, despite having more holiday regularly compared to other career, teaching is definitely not the easiest profession in the industry. Teaching is always based on achieving goals, and the main goal is to guide and help every student and every generation that come to get optimum education. Every single life has been touched by teachers, be it inside or outside of the classroom. Teaching itself, especially in language learning, is not stagnant but instead a very dynamic job with constant adjustment and expectation. Thus, there will always be challenges in adapting to the changes. And the resolve of these educators to push ahead to achieve optimum learning and teaching for the sake of the future is extremely commendable. So that is all from me. Thank you for watching. Bye.